Whispers of Desire Episode 1. The first meeting. The dimly lit room hummed with laughter and chatter as soft music played in the background. Erica stood by the bar, swirling her wine glass, half listening to the stories being exchanged around her. She wasn't particularly excited about attending this party, but Tammy had insisted. Birthdays were a big deal for their circle of friends, and this one was no exception. Her phone vibrated, a message from Tammy. "Where are you? You promised you'd be more social tonight." Erica smirked and typed back by the bar. "Social enough?" Tammy responded with a wink emoji, and Erica tucked her phone back into her bag, letting her eyes scan the room. She hadn't been in the mood for big crowds lately. The last year had been a whirlwind of work, leaving her little time for romance. Not that she minded. Her last relationship ended on such a bad note that she'd sworn off dating for a while. She took another sip of her wine and sighed. Maybe tonight would surprise her. She glanced up just as a figure stepped into view. "Erica, right?" The deep voice made her pause. She hadn't noticed him approaching. Tall, broad-shouldered, and with a confidence that was hard to miss, the man smiled at her, a teasing glint in his eyes. He was dressed casually, but there was something undeniably attractive about him. The sharp cut of his jaw, the slightly tousled hair, and the intense gaze that seemed to lock onto hers. "That's me," she replied, smiling back. "And you are?" "Tozan," he said, offering his hand. She noticed the slight hesitation before he shook hers, as if he was taking a moment to size her up. "I think we have a mutual friend, Tammy." She wouldn't stop talking about how I had to meet you. "Of course, Tammy the matchmaker?" "Oh, really? I'll have to thank her for that," Erica said with a raised eyebrow. There was something about Tozan that made her want to know more, but she wasn't ready to show her hand just yet. Tozan's smile widened as if he could sense her hesitation. "She mentioned you might be hard to impress. And are you here to try?" "Maybe," he said with a smirk, his eyes twinkling with something mysterious. "But I think you're not the type to make things easy." Erica chuckled softly. "Depends on the person." As they exchanged light banter, Erica felt a sudden jolt of excitement run through her. Tozan had a magnetic energy about him, one that was hard to ignore. For the first time in months, she found herself genuinely intrigued. His words were smooth, but there was something beneath the surface, a hint of mystery, as if he was holding back more than he let on. Before the conversation could deepen, another figure appeared beside them. Well, what have we here?" A new voice, laced with amusement, interrupted them. Erica turned to see Randy, another one of Tommy's friends, grinning widely. He had that boyish charm that always lit up a room, and tonight was no different. "Erica," Randy said, his eyes twinkling mischievously as he gave her a playful nudge. "I see you've met our mysterious friend here." "Randy, always a pleasure," Erica replied, rolling her eyes good-naturedly. "What's this about Tozan being mysterious?" Randy winked. "Oh, you know me, I like to keep things interesting. But Tozan here, let's just say there's more to him than meets the eye." Tozan's expression shifted ever so slightly, his smile tightening at the corners. Erica noticed the tension between the two men, though Randy kept up his light-hearted tone. "Don't let him scare you off," Tozan said smoothly, regaining his composure. "He likes to spin stories. I don't need to spin anything," Randy quipped, leaning casually against the bar. "But I'm just saying, Erica, you might want to ask Tozan about his little adventures before you get too cozy." Erica raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the shift in energy. There was clearly some history between these two, but she couldn't tell if it was friendly rivalry or something deeper. Whatever it was, it made her even more curious. "Well, I love a good story," she said, glancing at Tozan, who gave a small, almost imperceptible shrug. "Maybe I'll get to hear yours sometime?" "Maybe," Tozan replied, his voice low and steady, with a hint of something more behind his words. "But only when you're ready." The way he said it sent a shiver down Erica's spine. What was it about this man that made her feel like there was so much more beneath the surface? As she looked into his eyes, she knew one thing for sure. Tonight was just the beginning. The party continued around them, but for Erica, everything else faded into the background. She was caught in the strange tension between Randy's playful warnings and Tozan's quiet intensity. Each man seemed to have his own story to tell, but which one was she ready to hear? As the night wore on, Erica found herself gravitating more toward Tozan. Despite Randy's playful interruptions and his cryptic comments, there was something about Tozan that drew her in. Their conversation flowed easily, but there was always an underlying edge, a sense that he wasn't revealing everything. Randy, on the other hand, seemed more direct, though his playful demeanor masked something else. At one point during the evening, when Tozan stepped away to take a call, Randy leaned in close to Erica. "Just be careful with that one," he said, his voice quieter now. "Serious? Tozan's. Well, he's not exactly what he seems." Erica frowned, searching Randy's face for more. "What's that supposed to mean?" Randy shrugged, his usual smile returning, but it didn't reach his eyes. "You'll see. Just don't get too attached too soon, all right?" Before she could press him for more details, Tozan returned, and the conversation shifted back to lighter topics. But Randy's words stuck with Erica. Was Tozan hiding something? And if so, what? As the night came to a close, Erica found herself walking out of the party with Tozan by her side. The cool evening air was a welcome contrast to the warmth of the crowded room, and for a moment everything felt calm. "So Randy seemed pretty intent on warning me about you," Erica said, half joking, but testing the waters. Tozan gave her a sidelong glance, his smile faint but unreadable. "Randy likes to stir things up. Don't worry about him." "Should I?" He stopped walking and turned to face her, his eyes locking onto hers with an intensity that made her breath catch. "You'll have to decide that for yourself, Erica," Tozan said softly, his voice low and filled with something she couldn't quite name. "But whatever Randy told you, it's only part of the story." Her heart raced, anticipation curling in her stomach. Before she could ask more, Tozan leaned in, brushing a light kiss on her cheek, just close enough to her lips to make her wonder if he'd meant it to be more. Then, without another word, he stepped back and walked into the night, leaving her standing there, alone and full of questions.